Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
They're here.
Shall we compare our IQ tests?
No, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sad that tweet got deleted.
I'm so sorry that that's how you opened the show. I was gonna be like, "Hey, we're back," but no.
Oh, I didn't know you had already started recording.
Yeah, I feel like you saw the amount of time I needed to get the room background noise so we can like delete it later, and you were like, "Hey, let's talk about this really dumb thing."
Oh, my bad. How are you?
I'm worse now.
I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to ruin your day. How was your post Everybody's Dead recording feeling?
I don't know. I haven't talked to the people yet because
No.
I took like 2 days off.
No. I mean, not you. I'm talking about like how did you feel after we engaged in the game?
I was happy when it was cut down.
No, I meant like how did you feel physically?
Oh, fine.
I was trying to say like were you hungover?
Was I drunk or hungover? No, I was fine.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was just a lot of volume. This week, we're back to just whiskey. I don't need to worry about sipping on things.
Yeah, you have your sipping whiskey. I have my sipping beverage.
The silver bullet.
It is, in fact, silver in color.
It also says the silver bullet.
That could be like a new superhero. How was your weekend?
It's fine. I took a day off. It was nice.
I saw that on the Twitter sphere.
Basically, if it's a school holiday, I take it off.
Oh, that's is that because the co-host of the other show also has school holidays off?
Might be.
Okay.
I got some quick reviews to do before we get into the show.
Okay.
Because it's the month of October and I care about nothing else but horror. I have quickie reviews.
Okay.
I saw some things.
Quickie reviews. You saw some things.
Let's start. We'll go from bad to good.
Okay.
The worst. Inhumans. Saw the first episode. It's only going to be 8 episodes long. It looks like it's probably only going to be 8 episodes. Some promo material was released at a time saying, like, the complete series. So it's probably...
Usually it's not good to be a complete series in your first year.
Before you're even released, yeah. It's bad. Is the short version. I like that they're adapting kind of the first Inhuman story that happened in Fantastic Four. Something in the 40s, I forget. Not the 1940s, but like the 40-something issue of Fantastic Four to 40-something issue. We were at the tail end of it in the Galactus trilogy.
Oh, okay.
It's how Galactus started. They had a weird 7 pages of, and here we're wrapping up a story.
Yes.
It wasn't that long ago. I feel like you're confused. Yeah, I guess.
No, I know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to remember what the story was. Because at the end of the Galactus story, Johnny went to college.
Yeah, no, it's a weirdly laid out story. They're like, we're going to finish up a story and start another one before this one's over. But, I don't know, I like that they're adapting the old Stan Lee, Jack Kirby stuff. But on the other hand, everyone is horribly unlikable, which is really its biggest fault. There's a lot of stuff TV budget. Some of it's less forgivable, terrible fight choreography that's really slow. Hey, I'm gonna hit you now.
Ow.
Yeah, real slow stuff. But there isn't a single likable character. Which is really its biggest fault. Well,
if you're gonna get me engaged, you gotta get me engaged with something I like, or someone I like, or someone I don't like, and I want to see them get their butt kicked.
There's just nothing to latch onto. And hey, we're gonna bring this up later. I'm getting real sick of using pop songs from the 60s and 70s as this weird electronica versions to try and sound trendy. That's been going on with trailers for a while, and Inhumans used it. They did Paint It Black.
Yes.
And God, it was annoying.
I remember that because we talked about that on the show, and I
don't think I knew about this ahead of time. Maybe we did. I mean, I'm sure I brought it up with other trailers, but yeah, there's this real whiny electronica version of Paint It Black, in a slow motion action scene. I'm like, F this.
Wow, that was aggressive.
Yeah.
Going for the hard R early in the show.
Yeah, I'll bleep it. But yeah, it wasn't good. If they weren't drawing on the early Stan Lee, Jack Kirby stuff, I probably would be totally out, but just the fact that they're doing that at least entices me a bit.
So you're gonna go back for a little more?
It's only 8 episodes.
It's only 7 more hours of your life to commit to this.
I've done worse things.
Yes, you have, for longer periods of time.
Next quickie review. So Inhumans, don't watch it. It's terrible. Next quickie review.
That was easy.
X-Men The Gifted. I've watched episode 1 of that as well.
And?
It's fine.
Is that what you're just finishing when I got here?
Yeah. I think it's interesting that they're using villain characters as the centerpiece. There were some funny little callbacks to some X-Men stuff, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen it, but also if you weren't growing up like when I was, you might miss them. But they also do a thing where just because you say words that are connected to X-Men doesn't make it a thing. Call it something else. Just because you use a similar term doesn't make it meaningful or connect with audiences.
Just because I hand you steak and say it's filet mignon doesn't make it filet mignon.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's fine. I'm going to check it out again. Hopefully it'll be good. Worth revisiting.
Yes.
And I also saw Blade Runner last weekend.
Yes. Tell me about it.
I already told you my thoughts on it, but I appreciate you faking it for the podcast.
Yeah, see, nobody needed to know. This is where, okay, I'm going to coach you up a little bit. It's called Honoring Verbal Reality. What's said on the podcast is reality. So nobody knew that you told me about it. I was acting enthusiastic, and now everyone knows that this is a pre-staged moment.
Kind of. It's amazing. Just go, if you haven't seen Blade Runner, don't watch this movie. It will mean nothing if you haven't seen the first Blade Runner. Side note, go see the first Blade Runner, and then go see this movie because it's amazing.
How was Jared Leto?
The worst part by far.
Really?
Thank God he's only in like 3 scenes.
He's only in 3 scenes? How was...
He might only be in 2. But just going off, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt of 1 extra scene.
Was Dave Bautista was in it, right?
He's incredible.
He was really good in it?
He was really good. Everyone is really good. That's the thing about Jared Leto. Like, everyone gives these amazing, very natural performances. And Jared Leto is like the one guy you're watching. Like, that is a man making choices as an actor. He's trying to be like real slow and real sinister. And all this crap of like, oh, he was wearing contact lenses to make him blind. Because we're being real biblical with our references here about, the blind leading. He had apparatuses on that could make him see. So what was the damn point?
Fair enough.
It's also one of those things, like, I don't even know if I just have a prejudice against him now for being so terrible in Suicide Squad, even though I've seen him in other things that I like. Just stop casting Jared Leto as a psychotic weirdo.
Harrison Ford good?
Yeah, really good.
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, Ryan Gosling is amazing. He is so subtle, and I don't want to talk about it a lot, but the way he does his performance is from front to back is very intentional and very amazing with how he goes kind of from subtlety to bigger. And I think this is the grumpiest movie Harrison Ford has ever had, which is saying something. That
is a bold statement if I've ever heard one.
This is the grumpiest Harrison Ford you've ever seen.
Grumpier than Han Solo?
This is I don't want to spoil it because I don't want to take away the moments, but he starts as grumpy as he possibly can and just gets grumpier. Then peaks up a little, grumpy, sits still for a while, grumpy, little bit happy.
Okay, that's a good recap.
I was really going scene for scene in my head. If you watch the movie, you listen to that recap, I guarantee you could follow along with what I'm doing.
Okay,
it's amazing. I really loved it. It's like 2.5 hours. It doesn't feel like 2.5 hours.
Does it go quick or is it?
No,
just do you feel like you're in a world?
It's slow, but it's engaging. There's not a lot of wasted time. Maybe if I went through it, I could say, maybe we can trim a little bit here. But for the most part, it's a well-spent 2.5 hours.
Everything is where it needs to be. It's in place. There's not a lot of filler.
Yeah, but it's very Blade Runner-y. Like, I would say that if you watch the trailer is selling you a movie that it isn't.
Really?
Like, it's not a heavy action movie. Things you might expect more of are not in the movie, which is fine. It doesn't detract from it, but the trailer is selling you a movie that it isn't. The action that they have is brutal.
Good to know.
Brutal action. It hurts to watch the limited action that's in there. Boy, it's really hard to talk about this movie because it's a movie you don't want to spoil, but it's a very hard movie to talk about without spoiling it.
All right.
So that's what I have to say. Blade Runner is amazing. Go see Blade Runner. It's one of the best movies I've seen all year. I would say after Logan and Guardians, this is probably number 3 for me of the year.
It's in your top 5 of the year?
Top 3, I'd
say. Top 3 of the year?
I'd say, yeah, Logan.
There's a couple of movies coming up that might have a chance to...
Yeah, I mean, between Star Wars and Thor, only those ones.
I wonder what you could possibly be implying, Zach.
I can't wait to watch it again. It's a movie that there's a lot to unpack, and there's a lot to read into. And aside from Jared Leto, its biggest fault is there's something that they really beat you over the head. It's a movie all about ambiguity. and they beat you over the head with this one thing. They're like, this is what it is. And they're like, okay, so everything else is super ambiguous. So this thing that you keep on telling me, definitely not that. And surprise,
It wasn't.
definitely not the thing they kept beating you over the head with.
There it is.
They also pull a Dark Knight Rises. Like, again, if you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Ah.
But yeah, go watch Blade Runner. That's what I have to say about that. I guess let's do the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Let's start with the biggie. Let's do Star Wars.
You want to do that one, or you want to save it and do the bad first?
I want to open strong. I want to treat this like a comedy album, or like any kind of stand-up. You open with your second strongest joke first, end with your strongest. Let's
Okay.
open second strongest. And now I'm going to have to come up with what the strongest closer is. I actually think I have it for what's going to be a funny way to end the news. Second
Okay.
strongest story first. Star Wars trailer came out.
I would argue that's the biggest story. People have been waiting for this trailer for months.
Oh, it's the biggest story, but I have a funnier one to end on.
Okay.
Star Wars trailer dropped yesterday during Monday Night Football.
So you watched Monday Night Football?
Nope.
It was a pretty bad football game, to be honest, the first half. It was 3-2.
No, I was sitting there with the Star Wars Twitter feed up and just constantly refreshing, like, is it there yet? Is it there yet? Is it there yet? And then I was like, 1 minute ago, haha!
They marched the stormtroopers out onto the field, and then they showed it on the big jumbotrons at the field. And Sean McDonough, who was doing the play-by-play, he introduced it. You could tell he's probably never seen a Star Wars movie in his life, or he's a huge Star Wars nerd and didn't want to nerd out and geek out in front of the world.
I didn't do a breakdown for this, mostly for time. This just happened yesterday. In general, I liked it a lot.
Yeah?
I thought Mark Hamill was like, is he going to deliver any stronger lines than what he's given in this trailer? Because he is acting the hell out of those lines. That was a crazy good Mark Hamill performance. He only had a couple of lines of that trailer. Every line he delivered was amazing.
Really good.
Strong, like good acting.
And it wasn't whiny Luke.
No, that's a nice change.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Angry Luke. Angry Luke apparently got buried underneath a Jedi temple. I do like that, where he's like punching out from underneath him.
He
Like,
can't be angry, though.
you buried an old man.
He can't be angry. Anger is the path to the dark side.
He's wearing a lot of black.
Yeah.
Some grays.
He's emo Jedi.
He already did that once.
Hey, at least he's not complaining about not being able to get power converters from Tashi Station.
That's fair.
Yes. I really... a couple of lines, too. His facial expression in the one scene where Rey cracks the earth open.
Yeah. No, it's really
Do you ever think like he like looks at this as a chance to do Luke Skywalker right? Or like it's a different Luke Skywalker and he can play him so differently? And like not play him like Obi-Wan?
Yeah, I don't think he wants to do that.
Like you think that he obviously has to be different. But remember, Obi-Wan was like, I don't want to train this boy. We shouldn't train this boy. He's too old. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll train this boy. There's a theme in the Star Wars movies about we shouldn't train him. And the person who says we shouldn't train him ends up being the one who trains him. And that person turns to the dark side. Case in point.
Yeah, no, we all got there. You don't need to go through it point by point. We all got there.
So are you thinking that Luke is like, okay, well, no, because Luke doesn't really turn to the dark side. So it's really only Anakin.
I mean, it was a questionable. He could have turned to the dark side.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
But do you think Luke is like, listen, they almost didn't train me, and they certainly shouldn't have trained my father.
And I made some terrible choices.
Yes.
I got buried under a temple, and then that kid killed Han. He was the most marketable one of us all.
Yes. He also killed a lot of my pupils.
It's
So
also the text I sent. You're like, this is a great trailer. My text back was, where's Han?
you get my response.
Yeah.
Frozen in carbonite again.
Overall, strong trailer. I'm looking forward to it. The only thing, and you caught it too, which good for you.
Thank you.
You're getting a better eye.
Mm.
Your eye is improving. At the end of the trailer, it looks like Rey is asking for help, and she's going to be accepting it from Kylo Ren. Except those are two very separate scenes.
Yes.
They both happen to be at night, but there's a bunch of fire behind Kylo Ren, and the lighting on him is very specific, and it does not translate to the shots of Rey. So if they were standing like face to face, the lighting on her would be very different. They are separate scenes. It's a big bait and switch for the trailers.
Here's a question. Do you think Snoke is talking to Kylo Ren in the beginning, or is he talking to Rey?
I want to say Rey, but it could be either one.
What about, is he talking to Luke?
No. Because, it looks like she gets kidnapped. I couldn't tell who was trapping her. I'm assuming it was Snoke.
Mm.
When you see her kind of like floating and screaming.
Yes.
I'm assuming she's with Snoke, but I could be wrong.
Do you think we get to find out who Snoke was, or is?
No, I think they'll wait on that. I think this, my impression of the trailer was that they're going to be playing up a lot of a redemption arc for Kylo Ren. Mm-hmm. Like that he was lied to about the dark side and now he's feeling the consequences of it. And then I also assume there's going to be a last minute, like, pull the rug out from under him and then he goes back to the dark side. That's just theory. I could be wrong. I have nothing to back that up with other than story mechanics.
Because we're not going to get another trailer. This is it.
We might. I mean, this is technically I imagine we're going to get one more. Typically, you get one teaser and 3 full trailers. So far, we've only gotten one teaser and 1 trailer.
It's October.
I bet we'll get one more. But on the other hand, do you really need to market it at Star Wars?
No, I think the less is more here. The anticipation is so high.
Yeah, like, you don't need to show me a trailer. I was going to this movie one way or the other.
Not only that, but, like, the trailer was just enough to have me like, oh my god, what is going to happen in this movie? It doesn't really, it gives you questions, and it doesn't, some trailers, like you say, give you questions, and they also give you the answers at the same time.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
This gave you...
Act 1, 2, and 3.
This gave you questions, and it makes you think you have answers, but it's like, well, how do they get to the answer?
I think I said this to you. One of the things I didn't like about the trailer was I didn't like that they were playing with Leia's death in the trailer. It just felt in poor taste. If she was still alive, I might be like, yeah, it's fine.
Well, Leia has to probably die in this movie.
Yeah. I'm going... My theory is a sacrifice play.
Yeah.
Because she's too involved to just be like, and she went off and did another thing. And you can't also be like, and then she went into the background. I'm going to go with sacrifice.
Fall in love with Han.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
She can't really become a Force ghost for practical reasons.
Yeah, I don't know what else you would do with the character. Like, I don't think you can just kill her unceremoniously. You can't have her just go away. You can't have her just fade away. I think you have to. Do you
think she is the vehicle of the beginning of a possible Kylo Ren redemption, in which the First Order kills his mother and he becomes conflicted over that? And helps him discover the good still in him?
I doubt it. The only reason I think that'd be a good angle to go with, but I think a lot of the movie is going to be focusing on him being conflicted after killing Han, and I think to do that you would have to kill Leia in Act 1, and I feel like they're not going to deal with her, whatever her fate is, until Act 3. Maybe things were different. Maybe that would have been the route, but I don't think they're going to get rid of Leia in Act 1. I think she's going to go in Act 3.
Question. Do you think it's going to be darker than Empire?
I don't know.
I think it's going to be completely
potentially
different.
Because we've already lost Han, and we're going to be going... This movie is going to be opening with like the idea that Han is gone, Luke is broken, and we know that we need to lose Leia. So I think there is a very good chance.
Do you think it's going to be better than Empire?
No.
Do you think it'll be...
I think the problem with that is like you also can't trump the nostalgia of it.
No.
Like, you can't go, like, this is the best Star Wars movie. Now this is the best Star Wars movie. I feel like that's one of those unfortunate things.
But you know what? I kind of like that, like, you can maybe, like, go in hoping, like, wow, what if this is the best Star Wars movie?
It'd be nice. I mean, if it's the best one ever, that'd be amazing. Good.
And, like, I feel like they should try and strive to... Because everyone has Empire as number one. And all the Star Wars movies... At least in the Skywalker arc, I'd like to see them strive to be the best Star Wars
totally.
movie.
I hope so. I hope it is.
I mean, Force Awakens is in the top 3 for me.
I would probably agree with that. If push came to shove, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would say you got to go Empire, New Hope, Force Awakens. Then it's a toss-up between Sith or Jedi.
Definitely Jedi.
Jedi, then Sith.
I actually would probably say Rogue One over Sith.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Skywalker arc.
Oh, so you're taking that movie totally out of the equation.
Yes. And then you can put Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones in a bag and
kick
pick.
it.
Yeah, or kick it.
Kick that bag.
Light it on fire. Put it in a neighbor's porch for Halloween.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
Oh, what's this bag of crap on my... Fido's had a hand in this.
So that's Star Wars. Chewie looks a little off. That's a thing. Moving on.
Yes.
Justice League trailer. Looks like crap.
That was simple.
That's about all I have to say on it. It doesn't look good.
Well, you get Clark Kent early.
Yeah.
Lois streaming.
That is the only part of the trailer that I really attached to, like that one like big character beat, and then the rest of it's just like, we're on a green screen. Look at Ben Affleck's wig.
Do you think that they like threw that out front to like pull you in? Like, well, we all know Superman's gonna come back to life in this movie.
Probably wearing a black suit, maybe with a mullet, maybe with a machine gun.
Wow.
Probably only one of those things.
Definitely the black suit.
Yeah, the rest of it's probably
and the
happening.
mustache.
The mustache was digitally removed, but I hope he has a mullet.
Yes, but I think I wonder how much they're going to tie in with Bruce's vision / flashback / foresight.
I don't know.
Because you see some of the same winged things that you saw from...
Parademons.
Yeah, whatever the hell they are. Oh, this is what reminded me. There was a great quote in the middle of the trailer that made me think of you.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah,
Ready?
so did I. And I wouldn't well, that's not a good sign.
Yeah. My man.
Yeah. Don't make me think of Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, Justice League. What are you doing? It also made me... There's a Rick and Morty episode where they go to a space station with, like, a really crappy simulation. And that's all... Like, there was only a few characters that say anything, like, within this, like, simulated world. And the postman he only says, my man! So it's like, great. So it's either Rick and Morty level or Ninja Turtles.
What are you hoping for?
Hoping for Rick and Morty. Probably going to be Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Hoping for Rick and Morty, preparing for Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So it looks like crap. I really hated everything about it except for, like, the first 30 seconds. I really hated Ben Affleck's wig. It looks really bad.
But we're spending money to go see this in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't look good. Me saying that, I want this movie to be good. I don't want to go see something that's bad. Like, it makes for entertaining show fodder, I guess, but at the end of the day, I want to walk out of everything and go, like, this was really good.
Well, it's what, a year now since or 2 years? It's been 2 years since Batman v Superman.
That was March, I think. Wasn't it coming out in March?
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, that movie. I want this movie to be good. I doubt it's going to be. That being said, more trailers. Pacific Rim 2 had its first trailer.
Looks entertaining. Looks exciting. Looks action-filled.
Yeah. We got John Boyega getting able to be British.
Good for him.
Because he's British.
Well, yes.
Playing the son of Idris Elba.
Now we're talking.
Also British.
Very much so. Rich, dulcet tones of Idris Elba.
I don't know if he's in this, but at least his kid is. Directed by Stephen S. DeKnight. This is another one, and I need to go back and rewatch the first. Did you see the first one?
I have not seen the first one.
That
had Charlie Hunnam was in it, right?
Yeah, but it was, I don't know. My reaction when I saw it was, it's okay, but then thinking about it afterwards, like, this is an original property. It's not a reboot, not a remake, not an adaptation. This is just straight film sci-fi. I should give it another watch and give it another chance, kind of within that prism.
You also said you needed to be sober.
Yeah, that was,
Ish. Sober-ish.
I mean, more so than last time, probably.
Reasonable.
Runaways had a trailer. Their first trailer coming out in November to Hulu. You know they're hardcore because they use the S word.
Yeah, Narnia.
Yes, that was the S word.
Well, no, he did say Narnia.
He did say Narnia. His name was Alex.
Alex said Narnia.
Runaways is amazing. The first 24 issues of it anyway. After that, it immediately is awful and everything. Since the first 24 issues has been a big bag of crap.
Same bag of crap you're putting episodes 1 and 2 in and letting on fire on your neighbor's porch?
Kicking it, yes. Just kicking that bag. The trailer looks... I know you haven't read the series, and right, we're not going to, but...
All right, less reading.
It's very good. It's really great. I think I did... I wrote a thing a few months ago. It was like top 10... like best Marvel series of the 21st century, and I put that in there somewhere. It's really good. It's really strong. It's reflecting very heavily on... It doesn't look like they're going to be doing a big variation on it, except there might not be a telepathic dinosaur with a septum piercing.
That's disappointing.
Named Old Lace.
Super disappointing.
Yeah, I haven't seen any hints of a dinosaur yet. Again, telepathic with a septum piercing. But beyond that, it looks like it's pretty close to the original run. I also am hoping for that dinosaur.
You like dinosaurs?
Because why wouldn't you want that? Don't you be like, there's a bunch of kids who are running away. Also, they have a dinosaur.
Could they be from outer space? Space dinosaur?
One of the kids is from outer space, but that is all I'm going to say on that. Well, 2 of them, but I don't think that character's going to be in there yet.
Alien!
Thanks. Here's an awkward story.
Oh, yes.
The Punisher was supposed to come out last week.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Nope. Remember when I said I'd read a thing on Twitter where someone, not me, and I agree with them, had theorized that The Punisher didn't have a release date just to avoid being released around the time of some kind of major shooting in America?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to drop at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
No. So The Punisher is now going to be released sometime.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen one day. Just one day we're going to be like, oh, The Punisher's out now.
Yes.
All 13 episodes. It's been a couple of weeks since a major shooting.
Hopefully more than a couple of weeks.
I don't know if they're going to have that much leeway.
Oh.
That was a depressing statement.
Moving on.
So, yeah. Happy news.
Yes, please.
Batman the Animated Series.
Yes.
One of probably like in top 10 TV shows of all time for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently started rewatching it. Guess what? I'm done. Not going to rewatch it.
Why is that?
Because it's coming out on Blu-ray.
So you're gonna rewatch it, but
on Blu-ray.
crystal clear, high definition.
So excited! Batman the Animated Series is finally going to be released on Blu-ray in 2018.
So you're just gonna put your watching on hiatus till 2018?
Buy my DVDs at the store.
I hope you put them at a reasonable, gently used price.
Oh yeah, they'll be relatively cheap just so I can get them out of there. But yeah, Batman the Animated Series coming to Blu-ray 2018. Can't wait.
Yeah, baby.
So excited. Love that show. The Gambit movie is maybe or maybe not back on with Gore Verbinski, director of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies,
Yes.
in talks to direct it. Boo. Just don't do this movie.
Okay, there it is. Simple. It's Gambit. Nobody really knows anything about Gambit.
Everyone knows a lot about Gambit.
I don't know anything about Gambit other than he has cards.
He wears a head sock.
Yes, he does.
And Channing Tatum probably can't pull off a Cajun accent.
I've been surprised and impressed by less.
Yeah, just don't do this. Hey, let's take a dip. We just did some happy news, and let's just keep on diving down into bad. This is one I'm curious to get your take on.
Yes, please.
Also going with you, still haven't seen this damn movie.
Are you talking about Stallone and Creed 2?
I am talking about Stallone and Creed 2. So, Creed happens. Amazing movie. Love it. Kind of a rehash of Rocky 1, but still different enough to make it interesting. Great character beats. It's a nice, small, contained movie. It could be the end of the series, but option for a sequel.
/ money.
There's been 7 movies, and objectively only one of them is bad so far.
Fair.
That's a pretty good track record.
That's not a bad track record at all.
So, Ryan Coogler, the director of the first one, gets the job doing Black Panther. Creed 2 gets pushed back, but he's still going to do Creed 2. Stallone is, for the first Creed, totally out of the process. He is acting, he must have had a producer role in it, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But he didn't write, he didn't direct, which is the first time that's ever happened in a Rocky movie, and it's amazing. It's great. It's what should have happened. Creed 2 comes along, and out of nowhere, he's doing the script for it. He's writing it, bringing back Ivan Drago. It's going to be kind of a rehash of Rocky 4, but Coogler's still doing it. And then last night happened.
What happened last night?
Stallone's directing it.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
This is coming from a guy who has enjoyed the majority of the movies Sylvester Stallone has directed. I don't like this.
Here's my take on it. And it seems that we kind of have a Star Wars theme going on tonight. So,
Okay, I'm done.
thank you. So you have Rocky, created by Sylvester Stallone. He comes up with the story, he comes up with the concept, right? Directs a couple of the Rocky movies, right?
Most of them.
Most of them. Didn't direct 1 or 2.
He didn't direct 1, 5, and 7.
All right. But you look at 1 and you look at 7. Pretty,
Rocky 7 beating Creed.
yeah. Pretty standout movies.
Yeah.
All right. And 2 is pretty good in its own right. 3 starts to get campy. 4 is campy. 5 is garbage.
Hot garbage.
Yes, in the bag that you kick down the street.
It's a separate bag. It's a whole separate bag that I wanted to get away from the other bag. It's so terrible.
Yeah, because you less the 2 meet. And
Those bags can't even touch.
think about the better movies in that series, though, were not directed by Sly. Think about the better movies in the Star Wars universe. Who didn't direct them?
Well, my thing with Stallone doing it is objectively, the last 3 movies he's directed, Rocky Balboa 2006, Rambo 2008, Expendables 2010? Say 2010.
I think he did all the Expendables movies.
No, he only directed the first one.
Oh.
Expendables, objectively, is a bad movie. Rambo, for a certain audience, is a good movie. And Rocky Balboa is, in general, I also like both of those movies, just side note. But Rocky Balboa is objectively the last good movie he did, and that was 11 years ago. But he had something to say with that.
Yeah.
That's the thing, the allegory was real thin. He comes and he's like, don't you just feel like you got something unfinished and you just gotta go back and people are gonna laugh at you, but you gotta say what you gotta say, and you gotta do what you gotta do and all that kind of crap?
Yes.
Thin allegory for Stallone himself, but the movie worked. He had a thing to say. I don't think he has a thing to say here. I think he's just like, oh, it's successful, I'm gonna do another one.
Or he kills Rocky.
Yeah, maybe. If we're going with Rocky 4 again, because that's what we're doing. But I don't like losing Ryan Coogler on this. He took a franchise that was done and shot new life into it in a big bad way, and I liked it, and I liked the energy he brought, and I really don't know how I feel about Stallone telling me about the story of a black man coming up.
I don't know. We'll see how it all goes out. I would hate
I don't have a good vibe about it.
Bad.
I don't want it to be, again, much like Justice League, I don't want it to be bad. I love the Rocky movies, except for 5.
5 doesn't count.
I think it does. I think it's just bad.
I think that, Stallone's a capable director, yes. And he
It's been
understands.
11 years since he directed a universally good movie.
I don't know. We'll see.
I like Rambo a lot. Rambo's a really good movie, but you have to be a certain type of audience to enjoy.
Are you talking about the original Rambo? Or...
No, the original Rambo is First Blood. I'm talking
First
about
Blood.
Rambo, just called Rambo, even though it's First Blood Part 4.
Oh, okay. Stop pushing him. The man just wanted a sandwich.
There was First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Rambo.
Oh, yes.
I'm saying Rambo was good. Also, Rambo, the second and third movies are crap.
First Blood was good.
Amazing movie. First Blood's great.
Stop pushing me. I just want a sandwich. You know, if they just gave him a sandwich and kept their hands off of him, none of that would ever happen. He's going to give them a war they will never forget.
But I don't know. I don't feel good about this. We'll see. Hopefully it's good. What are you going to do?
Hope for the best.
Speaking of crap, Iron Fist, baby.
Oh, what now?
Well, no news of a second season, but he is going to show up in Luke Cage Season 2 like he should and not have his own show.
Just got to be a side character?
Or be a partner. Have it be a 50-50 show. That's fine, but he's a Luke Cage Season 2. Officially. Don't give Iron Fist a second season.
Okay.
That's a quick sum up.
That was easy.
Alright, that's movie news. Let's do comic news.
Things I don't know everything about.
You can barely tell that I went from one website to another.
Barely.
One had more movie news. One had more comic news. Scott Snyder is working on what's going to be either the final Batman chapter for him, or at least kind of designed to be his last Batman story, like kind of the end cap of it, titled Last Night. Scott Snyder's been working on Batman since 2010, when he started with Black Mirror, not the Netflix show. He's going to be doing it with local Maine artist Sean Gordon Murphy. It's sad that Snyder's kind of ending his story, but at the same time, he's been doing it for a lot of years now, so if you gotta go out, like, at least try and go out with something definitive versus just fading away. Which is always so sad, like, when you read, like, creators' runs, like, I'm gonna read the seminal run of this thing, and then for whatever reason, they end up leaving the book just kind of, like, at a random issue. You're like, well, it's done now. Cool.
Thank you.
Creators should have end marks to their stories. It really sucks when you just run into, like, alright, they quit.
Thank you. Moving on.
Fun.
Good talk, everybody.
If you're interested, and I am not, but it is, I haven't looked at this. Doomsday Clock, the Watchmen sequel, the first 6 pages have been released online.
Really?
As part of New York Comic Con. I have not looked at them. I don't want to see it until I can actually read it in full. But if you want to read the first 6 pages, apparently it's being treated as kind of a sequel to Watchmen more than I originally thought it was going to be. I guess it takes place in 1992. And that's about all I can tell you about it because I haven't read them personally. But they are out there if you're interested. I don't feel like spoiling it for myself. It's out in December. Pre-order that book.
You can wait another month and a half.
Yeah, pre-order it. Speaking of news coming out of New York Comic Con, there's going to be an upcoming Flash event called Flash War. No, people won't be flashing, but
There'll be a war.
we will be determining who is the better Flash, Barry Allen or the superior Wally West.
I wonder who you're rooting for.
Wally West, yeah.
So what happens when Barry Allen wins?
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to really do here, but it looks there's been some interesting art released for it, which is really, even before like I knew what the premise of it was, there were some images released. I was like, what is this? This looks good. Or at least it intrigued me enough to look into it further.
Does this version of the Flash have a job unlike the one in the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god, I hate that movie.
That was a bad
That was a
movie.
dumb movie. Flash War's coming. Speaking of things that are coming soon, Weapon H. Better than Preparation H.
Much better than Preparation H.
A character coming out of Weapon X and Totally Awesome Hulk. This character is a mashup of Wolverine and the Hulk. Just the Hulk with Wolverine's claws.
That seems formidable.
And he can also just turn back into a guy when he feels like it.
Wow.
Convenient.
Who's going to beat him? Probably nobody.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's such a 90s idea of a comic book character, but damn it, I enjoy it. I enjoy the ridiculousness.
So he's going to have Wolverine's claws, Hulk's size and strength. People will be done.
Yeah.
He is going to... There's no beating him.
And he has a bunch of other just jagged parts of him sticking out, so...
Oh, he should probably get a soothing skin ointment or topical balm.
But Weapon H is getting his own ongoing series.
Really?
No announcement of a creative team. He was created by Greg Pak, so I'd kind of assume he was going to do the book, but they haven't said. We'll see. Ta-Nehisi Coates, famed journalist and current writer on Black Panther, has been hinting that he's going to be doing a Storm book. Speaking of Greg Pak, he did a Storm book a few years ago that was really amazing. But Ta-Nehisi Coates is like MacArthur genius level smart and an amazing writer. Has been doing great on Black Panther, and now he's going to be doing Storm, supposedly, probably. I'm on board. Read that book. Read a smart man writing Storm. Yes, good commentary.
I don't know much about Storm. Is Halle Berry going to be in it?
No, that's a terrible representation of that character.
Oh, okay.
My note is, read this off of a website.
Oh, so you're accurate.
Well, it's just big. Action Comics.
I know them. That's where Superman came from.
Yeah, they are going to be celebrating the 80th anniversary of Superman in the 1000th issue of that book.
Wow. Superman's up there.
Superman has the most numbers.
He has all of the numbers from 0 to 1,000.
And just for accuracy's sake, I'm reading this off of Comic Book Resources.
Ooh, citing our sources.
That's where I get most of the comic news. I like their website. For this, the celebration kicks off with a new hardcover book that celebrates the 80th anniversary of Action Comics.
Yay.
The book will revisit major moments in Action Comics history, like the introduction of Superman, Supergirl, Brainiac, and the Fortress of Solitude. The book will also include numerous classic Superman stories, as well as literary essays from the likes of Jules Pfeffer, whatever, who won a Pulitzer Prize in 1986 as an editorial cartoonist, and Paul Levitz, among others. Also included is a poster that incorporates all 1,000 Action Comics covers, as well as an unpublished 40 Superman story, thought to have been written by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman.
I know who those people are, yeah. I'm not a total idiot.
Action Comics 1000 itself will be an oversized issue written by Pete Tomasi and Dan Jurgens that will draw on all kinds of talent from the comics industry, including a Superman story written by Jeff Johns and Richard Donner.
Ooh.
They've done stuff before. They did a great arc in the mid-2000s.
That's the same Richard Donner of the film,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Is this kind of like almost like an omnibus?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's really the information that's out there right now. It sounds like whatever this hardcover is, it's going to incorporate quite a few things. It's one of the biggest milestones out there. They're going to be the first comic book to ever hit 1,000. This started in 1938.
Took a long time to get to 1,000.
Yeah, but they're going to be the first, so,
Good for them.
yeah, throw out a big book. And the last bit of news.
That's a long news this week.
We didn't do news for 2 weeks.
That's a good
And
point.
also New York Comic Con happened.
That's also a thing.
Earlier today.
Being Tuesday.
What a weird story.
Oh, is this the strong finish you promised to the news?
This is the strong finish I promised
All
of
right.
weirdness. An intoxicated individual
Oh, that usually is, I like where this is going. Usually these are the best stories.
went to one of the largest comic book stores in the world, Midtown Comics,
Okay.
on, what is that, like 8th and 40th, if memory serves. To get into Midtown Comics, just going to give you a quick visual here for those who haven't been there.
Have you been?
Again, when I was in Jersey, I went there a bunch.
Okay.
And I went there this year, just walked around, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what a store with money looks like. Sorry, low moment. But to get into Midtown Comics, you go in a door, you walk up this real narrow staircase. You go up about a flight and a half of stairs, and then they have 2 floors within that, like real big, a lot of stuff going on there. I've also stolen some of their customers. Haha.
Wow. Okay. So back with get on with the story here.
A man apparently was intoxicated, stumbling around Midtown Comics, punched out the window on their first floor, meaning the second floor of the building, and jumped out of it, crashing onto a New York sidewalk below. Lived, tried to crawl away, amazingly enough, super broken, and the cops arrested him.
Was there any reason why?
Unclear, but he punched out a window in Midtown Comics and jumped out the window.
Wow. A second story window.
Yeah.
That's like I want to hurt myself, but I don't want to die height. Unless you land totally wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a rough fall. I mean, that's just onto a sidewalk.
The concrete is unforgiving.
Yeah. So that's the thing that happened today.
Concrete is not pliable.
I thought it was weird. I wanted to bring it up. I thought it was funny. Side note, no one punch out my windows.
It's not that far of a fall either if you jump out his window.
No, but I would find it unfortunate. And that's the news.
Good news.
All right. Let's go from there to our creeptacular Jared's Reading Corner.
Ooh.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
All right, you want me to set up the premise of this book and then you can dive into what it is?
Yes, please.
All right, this week we are doing Creepshow, the book, not the movie. Because Creepshow was a movie directed by George Romero of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, that other one that I can't remember, of the Dead fame, who is now also dead.
Dead. D-E-D, dead.
Yes, that's the one. He directed this movie in 1982. It was written by Stephen King. This is Stephen King's first scripting credit. Effects of the movie were done by Tom Savini. The movie is a lot of fun. It's not a masterpiece, but it's a lot of fun. Like, they just get big in there. A lot of the acting's kind of terrible. The standout in it is Leslie Nielsen.
And Ted Danson.
Well, he's not a standout, but he's in it.
Come on, he was the star of Cheers.
He's in it. He's not the standout actor, which is definitely Leslie Nielsen.
It's not Stephen King.
No, he is the worst by far.
In The Lonely Death of Jordy Verrill.
Yes, he played
Jordy Verrill.
He played Jordy Verrill, and he is bad. But yeah, overall, it's a fun movie, really enjoyable. But comparatively, this book is far superior, solely because of the artwork of Bertie Wrightson.
The artwork is really cool.
It's outstanding. We lost Bertie Wrightson like less than a year ago, and this is him at like peak talent. It's amazing to look at, and as much fun as the movie is, I would rather sit down with this book any day of the week. And since it's a day of the week in October, take it away.
All right, so Creepshow, Stephen King's Creepshow, as we hopefully all know, is Stephen King, a Maine native, and well known as widely considered to be the master of modern horror. Brings us this fun little book. It's not very long. There's not even page numbers on it.
Relatively short graphic novel. It's also been out of print for a very long time. It only very recently came back into print, which is why we're able to actually talk about it.
Yeah, it actually came out in 1982.
And it hasn't really... I don't think it's been in print since the early 90s.
Wow.
It's been gone for a while. And
yeah.
Side note, it's in the store for sale.
There it is, right there. But it's five kind of like... I likened it to like Tales from the Crypt.
It is. That's what it's based kind of thematically on. This is an anthology story.
Yeah. It's... You got your host, the Creep, who kind of sets up... He's almost the narrator of the story. And these aren't like meant to be like utterly terrifying... stories. Are meant to be more like for me, Tales of the Crypt, when I watched it as a kid, wasn't like scare you out of your wits. It was just like unsettling or like, oh wow, or ugh, kind of stuff.
That middle story is
The Crate.
No, not The Crate.
Or Something to Tide Over.
That
one's got some terrifying. Yeah. But it's 5 different stories.
I mean, basically all these stories are like, there's a thing, and then at the end, there's a twist.
Yes.
That's basically every story.
Which is basically Tales from the Crypt. Or...
it's all these old EC horror books, like pre-code stuff.
Or you've got, also similar to, in my some of the Twilight Zone stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Where you got that. It's not really... Like, Twilight Zone, again, not meant to scare you so much as to meant to, like, mess with your head just a little bit, right? Probably the...
One, yeah.
I
love the Twilight Zone. That's one of my favorite shows of all time.
The one here, Something That Tied You Over, was like Pit and the Pendulum, but it goes bad.
Yeah. The end is it. I mean, it's all great.
So, my thought on this, I read all of them, believe it or not.
Well, one of the things
I'm only going to highlight a couple of the ones I really liked.
Yeah, I want to talk about them generally. I don't want to give away the twist ending because one of the things that I highly recommend is actually reading this book. It's especially in the month of October. It's not going to be like, it's not terrifying, but there's a lot of good suspense. And in a couple of cases, some very good, macabre kind of...
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Sensibilities. It's a great book to read around Halloween time.
Yeah, it's, what was it? It was like Scary Stories. Remember the Scary Stories books?
I guess not.
They were popular back when we were young children.
I mean, I'm sure it's one of those things that I'm sure if you show it to me, we'll be like, oh yeah. But
that's why I'm pulling up an image of it right now. Hold on. Oh, come on, internet. Slow.
Do you not have the Wi-Fi password here?
Yeah, this book.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Were there like 3 of those?
Yeah, collected from Folklore, yeah. Scary Stories to Tell, more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Totally. I remember those, yeah.
Things like,
the artwork in those
and
were
more
amazing.
Scary Stories, more Tales to Chill Your Bones. You remember those?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very similar to that.
Yeah, let's just go through it piece by piece without kind of spoiling it.
All right.
Story number 1, Father's Day.
So, Father's Day is kind of your basic...
A bunch of waspy people. Family getting together who, like, the patriarch of the family, dead. May have been murdered.
But they get together on Father's Day.
To mock him.
Pretty much. And as legend goes, one of the kids, killed the father because the father killed her fiancé.
He just wanted some cake.
Yes. And he wants some cake.
That's really...
That's
For me, this is the weakest story in the bunch,
Yeah.
mostly because it's predicated on a man wanted cake.
A man wanted cake, and
The
the ending is kind of like, huh? Well, he got his cake.
Oh, he got his cake.
Yes.
And ate it too.
Ugh. All right.
Sorry for that.
That one,
fun.
the first two were. The second one, the lonesome death of Jody Verrill.
I liked this one a lot.
I guess it was all right. It wasn't my favorite.
Well, I mean, if you watch the movie, it's really weak because Stephen King plays this like titular character.
Yeah,
and he's in there because he's Stephen King. He's not in there because he's an actor.
yeah.
The effects work in the movie is amazing. It's done by Tom Savini, again, mostly known for, I'm not going to say mostly known, but I mean, his biggies are working with George Romero on, like, I think his first one was Dawn of the Dead. And he's done a ton of stuff. I mean, like, from Dusk Till Dawn, Day of the Dead, that kind of stuff. Like, he's done a ton of effects work. Even more recent stuff. I feel like he worked with Robert Rodriguez on Planet Terror.
Grindhouse.
Yeah, I think. Within Grindhouse, if memory serves. I might be wrong. I'm not going to double check it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the movie looks great, but you can't compare to Bernie Wrightson's art.
The art's really cool.
Like, a meteor crashes, Stephen King splits it open.
Yeah.
Or we'll call him
Jordy. Oh, it's always Jordy.
It's always Jordy.
Jordy never saw that coming.
He splits it open, and then, like, everything he touches turns into vegetation. And it's really weird how they can make vegetation seem...
Yeah.
evil and threatening, but
it's not just the
it's
vegetation.
overgrown.
It's every time he comes in contact with water after touching it that the vegetation spreads.
Yeah, I mean,
and then the ending where the weather report comes out.
Yeah, it's great.
That's kind of like that. Oh, I wonder what No, it was different. It was more cerebral. One character kind of it definitely hearts on the lonesome death. Like,
oh yeah, and the thing reading this one. Is Bernie Wrightson famed for being one of the co-creators of Swamp Thing? And if you read this story, you go, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. The next one, The Crate, is probably a toss-up between this and Something That Tied You Over, my favorites. I really like The Crate.
This is the monster story one.
Yes. You got to have a good monster story. So it takes place kind of at a university, and there's a faculty party, and this one gentleman has a really drunk, loud, aggressive wife.
She is unpleasant.
She's unpleasant. In fact, there's one scene where she's going out to a dance hall.
Like, he fantasizes about murdering her, and everyone just, like, kind of politely claps to, like, good shot.
Yes.
Right through the head.
I love this line. First of all, the creep gives the description of what's happening in this one part. Meanwhile, Wilma's getting ready to go to her night class. At least she says she's going to a class, and if she looks more as if... Wait, that's weird. And if she looks more as if she's planning to boogie down to the local disco.
It's the early 80s, baby.
But I love...
Stephen King was up on the lingo.
When she leaves, he says in the thought bubble, this husband to his wife, "Do me a favor, Wilma. Have a few more on the way in and kill yourself, you mad dog bitch." Meanwhile, back at the lab, it's seriously, that's one panel to the next. This janitor finds this mysterious crate marked Arctic Expedition.
Don't go in there.
Well, yeah, don't. It's hidden under the stairs. And inside the crate, well, there's this monster. And the monster, well, he's hungry.
He's not pleasant.
He's not pleasant at all. In fact, he consumes the janitor. And then...
other things.
And other things, like a student. Charlie, thank God. Oh, no. Too late, Charlie. Charlie gets eaten.
Charlie didn't bite his finger.
No, he didn't. Charlie got his finger bit off.
This is a one with all these. It's not worth ruining the ending.
No, but you can see where it's going, which is kind of cool. Something That Tied You Over is probably the more, like you said, this is the visceral one.
This is probably my favorite one. Mostly, it's the most uncomfortable. It feel like obviously, like having a big monster is very Halloweeny, but this is the one that's just like
the monster.
You're right.
within.
It's very Edgar Allan Poe-ish.
Yeah, well, think about the one thing that Stephen King's always been good at is he takes something seemingly benign and he's able to make you just terrified of it. Remember as a kid getting buried up to your head in sand?
Well, this is...
And your parents saying, "Oh, gonna leave you and the tide's gonna come in."
Yeah, well, imagine when you were a kid, like, or even, like, older, like, if you get buried in the sand, it's like you're lying down kind of perpendicular.
Yeah, so you can get out.
Yeah, this is someone digs a hole about 5 feet deep vertically, so you get in there, the hole is filled back in, and then you're gonna die because the tide is coming in, and they are just being as just brutal as they can about like, I'm gonna watch this and enjoy it later. Gonna record it on my VCR. And what a terrible way to die. It's so suspenseful.
But it's not only that, he's also...
And then there's a twist.
There's a
I'm
twist.
not gonna say what the twist is. But there's a twist!
Yes. Can we mention that the reason why he's killing this guy?
Yeah, why not?
Because he was sleeping with his wife.
Good enough.
So he's
reason.
also killed his wife in the same manner, and it's very. He made each other watch on TV.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna set these cameras up.
This guy put a lot of thought and money at the Radio Shack into this.
And this is the one that has Leslie Nielsen in it, and he's so sinister, and he's great. But even with a great performance, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, it's a great scene of the movie, a great story of the movie. Again, trumped by the artwork. Like,
Yeah.
this is. It almost, I don't know, it's artwork that's impossible to critique negatively. Like, it's gorgeous, it's amazing, it's sinister. You just feel all of these, like, beats that are just being portrayed far better than, like, film could ever do it, especially in the 80s. This artwork is outstanding.
Well, Creepshow is kind of almost like an original Grindhouse type.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah. And then the final one there, Creeping Up on You. This one was kind of
If you don't like bugs, I could see this one really making, like, your
This
skin
could
crawl.
be squirmy, crawly kind of one.
Yeah.
It's funny because it kind of hits on all the different tropes of horror and that kind of style of horror. Father's Day is the skeleton in the closet. The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill is kind of like that fear of being alone.
Man versus nature.
Man versus nature. The Crate.
Fear of boxes.
The Crate's like the classic monster story.
Monster story.
Something to hide, like tide you over. That's the visceral one. That takes the everyday object and it just makes it terrifying
This
to you.
is the one that's the most Twilight Zone-y as well.
What? Something to tide you over? They're creeping up on you.
Something to tide you over.
Yes.
That one is the most, like, you could see Rod Serling doing a thing like...
The Crate too.
Yeah, I was trying to think of, like, how could I do a Rod Serling intro off the top of my head. That would have been a really funny thing for me to think about ahead of time and, like, do a script of The Beach.
Imagine, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Submitted for your perusal.
Lonely Sand Dunes, Solitary, On the Horizon.
No, that's too,
I
like...
don't know.
That's too poetic. Like, the Rod Sterling stuff was more, like, straightforward. I guess it kind of was poetic. Like, that was more like...
Yeah, screw it. I'm no Rod Serling. The last one, there's a bunch of bugs and it's gross.
Yeah, pretty much. Not much of a twist in the end of that one either.
No, that's true.
That one's pretty straightforward.
That one has the least amount of... like, at the end, there's a twist. This one is like, there's a curve, I guess. It's fine. A lot of bugs. A lot of bugs.
See, I came up with the ending, the Rod Sterling ending for something that tied you over. Surf's up in the Twilight Zone.
You would never say that.
I think, how cool would it be?
Then he comes out, suit, like, jacket, tie, and just board shorts.
Surf's up in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Another good one for the end of Something to Tide You Over could possibly be...
it's also the title. That's such a Twilight Zone title. Something to tide you over. All about the tide coming in to murder you while you're buried up to your head in sand.
Yes, there is that.
Also, so low budget.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't need anything. That's just terrifying.
Yes.
What a terrible way to die.
It would be horrific. Further proof that time and tide wait for no man in the Twilight Zone.
That's good.
Thank you.
And the only thing that even made this one, like, expensive to produce, probably even not that pricey, is the twist!
The twist!
The twist is what does it really. Yeah, it's...
Father's Day has a literal twist ending.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, it's very twisty. What with
Twisted.
that thing that gets twisted.
Yes.
This isn't scary horror. It's not even, like, gruesome, but it harkens back to, like, 1940s and 1950s kind of storytelling, but with the storytelling of Stephen King and the art of Bernie Wrightson. And what are you going to do? It's hard to trump that.
It is hard to trump that.
This, for everything that we've read in this show...
This has been one of the more fun ones.
Well, it's really... I mean, we've looked at a lot of great artists. Like, we've looked at Jack Kirby, Darwin Cook... like guys like that, but Bernie Wrightson, his art is outstanding. This might be the best art we've looked at.
I thought New Frontier art was pretty good.
Yeah, that was the Darwin Cook stuff.
Yeah.
It's different from all those different styles, but just the way Wrightson does his stuff, he is just such a spectacular artist. He does horror, and he knows how to hit the right moments for the scares. Like, he's a guy who should have been, if he wasn't an artist, he should have been a director, because he knows how to hit the exact moments that you need to hit in the right beats.
Yes.
Like, his layouts, his character design, creature design, all just spectacular stuff.
I really like the Creep. The Creep is probably some of the best art, how he gets him in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, he shows up like at the end of every story, in the beginning of everyone. He's just kind of like saying up. He's bookending every single thing.
Very much like the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm going to do a quick fact check of the show. I wonder if Tales from the Crypt came out before Creepshow came out. And if so, I wonder if Tales of the Crypt Keeper had a kind of, was influenced by Creepshow. Because I kept thinking, like, this is like Tales of the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, just Tales of the Crypt.
Tales of the Crypt. First episode was 1989.
So 7 years after this.
Yes. So let's see if it says influence. Well, it did. The title is based on the 1950s EC comic series of the same name.
Yeah.
And this is an homage to those comics.
Yeah, to all that pre-code stuff. And all those EC books, they get constantly reprinted.
Robert Zemeckis and Richard Donner were executive producers on that show.
Oh, Tales of the Crypt?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, either way, they're playing in the same kind of area. The movie's a lot of fun. It's a fun movie, and I really hate to, like, compare it, because it's like, I love George Romero, but putting it next to the artwork of Bernie Wrightson, the book's better.
The book usually is, too. So
I mean, it's an adaptation of a movie, and in this case, the adaptation is better.
I feel like the Tales of the
I'm also not trying to take away from the movie. The movie's also enjoyable. It's very 80s. The book feels more timeless.
Even if you look at, like, the font, like the Tales of the Crypt font looks exactly like the Creepshow font.
Yeah.
Or very similar.
I think this book is worth picking up. It's the art itself makes it worthwhile, but it's also, they're fun stories for the most part, except for maybe Father's Day. Kind of dumb.
Father's Day wasn't the weakest story in the book, I didn't think.
I thought it was. But, it also comes down to opinion.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There's something for everybody in there.
It's mostly good. Go with that. And the art is good from front to back.
No, it was entertaining.
Even the Father's Day art is really amazing. That's actually some of the funnest art is in Father's Day.
Father's Day does have some fun art in it.
It's so hard to talk about without spoiling it, because you don't want to.
No.
People should experience it for themselves.
Yes. No, I mean, it's definitely worth the buy.
Yeah, I'd say read this. Read it hard. That's, my review. Buy it and read it.
I would say buy it and read it, and
especially right now, Halloween season. This is a perfect Halloween book.
I would say if you're looking for something for you like to share with a kid, though, I'd say probably 12 and up, probably.
But this is the kind of, just try and pick, let's say you're out by a campfire right now, you and a bunch of people, and, you're just reading this by campfire light.
Yeah.
This would be the perfect late night,
maybe
by the fire kind of book to read.
Well, the concept in the movie, too, is, the little kid is reading this.
Yeah,
who was played by Stephen King's son.
Was it?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I did a little research on the movie.
Oh, it's funny. I watched it, but I didn't know that was his kid.
Yeah, that was his kid, Jack.
Does that mean Joe?
Oh, Joe or whatever. I can't remember.
Joe Hill is a pen name.
Yeah. But that was his kid.
Owen. Yeah, okay, cool.
That's that's where the cover art comes from, too.
Yeah, and Bernie Wrightson's art is used in the movie as well.
I guess maybe, you could probably 10-year-old would be okay for some 10-year-olds. But, I mean, some of the maybe some of the language in it is
where they're like, I'm going to shoot my wife because she's a bitch.
Yes, you mad dog bitch. Best insult. I gotta find a time to use that sooner than later.
All right. We both enjoyed this. I think it's better than the movie. Comes under.
I didn't see the movie. I saw some clips of the movie. It all works out.
Moving on. Letters to the editors.
Now for my favorite part of the show. What did I say? Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always dead.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Oh, people have written to us?
I appreciate people actually sending a few in.
Well, thank you very much, people.
If you could send more in, that'd be great. We got a couple to rest our laurels on, but just in case, if you want to send a few more, I'd appreciate it, just so we can continue this. If everyone who listened to this show sent one letter,
we'd have 5 letters.
No, we would be fine forever.
Okay.
If everyone who listened to this just sent in one sentence email, I would never need to worry about this segment again.
Okay.
We will kill each other before we get to the end of that list.
Well, we've come close on several occasions.
Not really.
No, yeah, I guess not.
I feel more on your end. You've gotten mad at me more than I've gotten mad at you.
Mostly rightly so.
Probably.
Anyway, what's our letter?
I'm really curious to see what you think about this, because I kind of struggled when I was presented with it. What is the statute of limitations on spoilers?
Ooh.
I have an answer, but I feel like it's a mean answer.
Ooh. I want to say, well, you got to look at it from the standpoint of the medium. For movies...
Yeah, I kind of don't want to.
For movies, I would say once it's out of theaters, spoilers, the statute of limitations on spoilers are going to come out. Because at that point, you're going to stumble upon it somewhere, somehow, and you're going to cross upon it. For TV shows, I would say if you're watching a regular episodic TV show, spoilers, 2 days.
But then how do
maybe
you differentiate
3.
that? Like, if I was going to watch a network show, I could watch that network show. But if I'm going to watch, like, Ash vs. Evil Dead, that comes out on Stars, I don't get Stars. So I can't get Ash vs. Evil Dead until the whole thing is released digitally and I can buy it.
So do you want to... Okay, then let's compromise. Let's say there should be a memorandum on spoilers until it is in a purchasable home medium.
Yeah, so here's my thought on that.
Yeah?
No. If you don't catch it when it comes out, you're out of luck.
Okay, so when Ash vs. Evil Dead comes out on Stars...
That's fine. If someone tells me a spoiler, that's fine. If I don't catch it when it happens, there's a reason I saw Blade Runner this weekend, because I was like, I don't want to find out about this through other means.
You didn't want it to be spoiled.
Yeah, so I went and I saw it. If you don't catch it when it's out, tough.
So
That's
you're
kind of my thought process.
Your thought process is if it's that important to you, you'll see it as soon as possible.
Yeah. I had I can't actually tell if I've lost this friend group because of this. Like, I haven't hung out with these people in months, and it might be because of spoilers.
Because you gave them spoilers, or they gave you spoilers?
Because I gave them spoilers. So I knew also, let's put this in context. A few years ago, I knew they were watching Sons of Anarchy.
Good show.
Watching it years ago.
Yes, when it was, like, coming out.
I think they were catching it after the fact, but they were still, like, catching up on it. And
did you tell them about the ending?
I told them that, what's his name?
Jax.
Yeah, he, like, Jesus is himself into the front of a truck. I haven't seen that. I saw, like, a gif of it.
Yes. He straight up rides his motorcycle into an oncoming semi. It's not even his motorcycle; it's his father's motorcycle.
Yeah,
that's
well,
neither here nor there.
I haven't watched that. I haven't seen it. I know nothing about it, but it was just like information I happened to come up with, and I mentioned it offhand, knowing that they had been watching the show years before the show had ended, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't know. Why did you tell us that spoiler?" I'm like, what am I?
First of all,
we were watching
2 things.
It years ago.
2 things about Sons of Anarchy. Number one, anyone who watched the show knew that Jax had to die. And because he's just totally an irredeemable character. He does some very terrible things. Not some, he does a lot of terrible things. And number 2, they released a Sons of Anarchy companion book, like a coffee table book, and it had a list of all the characters, and he was listed in it as deceased. Yeah, so they spoiled it before it even happened.
I haven't seen these people since that happened. That was months ago.
How is
that my fault?
I still recommend that you watch. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert.
I don't care. It happened years ago.
I still think, have you watched Sons of Anarchy?
I had a roommate that I saw a lot of the first couple of seasons. My roommate watched it a lot.
It's a good show. You should watch it.
So, I mean, I've seen a good chunk of like the first 2 seasons.
It gets really good in like the middle seasons, and seasons 6 and 7 aren't that bad either.
But I mentioned that offhand, and they got really mad at me. I'm like, I knew you were actively watching the show years prior. How is it my fault that you don't know?
You knew, watching it, you just kind of knew that the things that he did, especially in the next to last episode, the thing that he did made him completely irredeemable, and he had to die.
Or I'm not a big social media user. Like, I use it for the store. On my personal side of things, it's almost radio silence. I like Instagram. I like throwing up a photo because there's really nothing controversial about a photo.
Depends on the photo, I guess.
I mean, nothing that I throw up is. It's like, here's a dog.
That's all you like, your dogs of Instagram. That's what you should be.
Basically. That's really all I do for social media. But like,
or you sitting in a fancy chair. Those are really your 2, you post you in a fancy chair or your dog. That's it.
But I saw, I'm part of a few Facebook groups for comics. Solely for me selling things. I really hate everyone involved with those groups.
That's nice.
They're not listening. It's fine.
That one time they do.
Whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
Stop posting so much. I don't care. I'm only there to sell.
Fair enough.
But like, I saw someone post a thing, and they're like, "Oh, hey, so like, what do you guys think about this storyline that happened 2 years ago that involves a character death?" And this one guy posted like, "Hey, can you put a spoiler tag in? Like, I'm reading it through the hardcovers that are coming out that are about like 3 years behind of the actual story." It's like, so I haven't read that yet. Thanks. it happened 2 years ago, and you're giving this guy crap? That's insanity. At this point, spoilers have gotten so ridiculous. I say if you haven't seen it as soon as it comes out, tough.
Well, okay, let's settle that down. Within the week it comes out, maybe?
No,
Or first
I don't
couple of
even
days?
care. Like,
Okay.
if
Well,
it
yeah,
comes
you're
out like
exposing-
an offhand conversation, like, if you're talking about like, oh, did you see this thing? And like you're talking with somebody, you don't have to be like, oh, and this is everything that happens.
Yeah, if you said, did you see this thing? And they say, no, but I want to. Shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, but like if you happen to mention a thing, or if you're talking to other people about
Or
a thing,
if you're on social media, you know you're going to stumble across a spoiler.
That's why I saw Blade Runner last weekend, so I could go into it and not know what, like, I didn't want to find out about it through another medium. So I went to the movies. You know how I went to the movies? By myself. It was amazing. I turned off my phone. I was by myself for 3 hours.
Thanks
it was
for inviting
awesome.
me. I would have gone.
Would you?
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to really rack up our movie budget.
Fair enough. Well, I wasn't asking you to, like, pay for my movie.
I guess I could have, yeah. You know, that's my own fault then. It was
Yeah.
great. I
Did you go on?
I had a lovely time.
Did you go on Saturday or Sunday?
Friday.
I had a game on Friday.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see. Yeah. So you went really early in the weekend.
Yeah, so I mean, statute of limitations and spoilers non-existent.
Yeah, spoiler alert, if you ask me to do something, chances are I'll probably do it.
But if you're talking to people about a thing, someone else can't get mad at you for discussing it. And if it happens like just an offhand conversation, tough. If you missed out, you missed out.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
really bad with it because I want to know, and I'll like go out and self-spoil things sometimes.
I try to avoid it the best I can. There's been a few times where I've like accidentally come across things. Like I'll see things that'll have like a spoiler tag in there. I'm like, well, maybe if I only read up until the spoiler happens.
And then it's like the first line.
And then I'm like, damn it. They didn't tell me exactly where they were going to say the spoiler in the middle of this article.
You know who the biggest spoiler of things is for me?
Me?
Yes!
Sorry.
That's all right. I'm sure you're not really sorry.
What did I do?
I don't know. There's not like because you like dive into all these websites to get this insider news and you like, I know exactly what's going to happen in Spider-Man Homecoming beat for beat because it's in the trailer.
It wasn't the trailer. It's not my fault.
Yeah, but then you like pointed it out to oblivious me.
Like this is Act 1, 2, and 3.
And now I have a more keen eye. I picked up on things in movie trailers now.
Yeah, you saw the Star Wars thinking like those scenes aren't the same.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
There's a lot of that going on in the Thor trailer as well.
But
I guess we'll find out when Thor happens.
The Revengers.
That's so great. What a great line.
Well, we really don't need to have a name.
I love it. It's so
What I love about that is like all the other Avengers have been off doing things like Civil War, and Thor's been on his own. He's like, I miss my friends.
So yeah, my thought on spoilers, tough. Do it opening weekend as soon as it comes out, or you're just screwed by default because the world doesn't wait for you.
Time and tide wait for no man.
Well, that's something to tide you over.
You really pushed for that one.
Hey, I'll cut out the space it took me to find that story title.
Hey, what are in the crates at the Editor's Note Comics?
A lot of things. There's a lot going on this month too.
Yeah, talk to me about this. What's going on in the anything big at the store?
Yeah. This weekend, this is a new one. This only happened last week. Like, even since we recorded the last show. This weekend is Maine Craft Weekend. There are 2 cities participating, Portland and Hollowell, and I'm one of the active participating stores for the event. There'll be a bunch of...
Good on you.
I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due. The woman who runs the Hollowell Art Gallery contacted me about it, and she's like, hey, you can sign up for this thing. She's very active in the town.
Nice.
But, yeah, so I'll be giving away a bunch of free comics. Just up front, it's basically stuff left over from like Free Comic Book Day and Halloween from the last year and that kind of stuff. But if it's
last year's Halloween,
yeah, but it's they're mostly one shots. If you missed out on it, then you can get a bunch of free books. I also have things left over from Batman Day from last month, so there'll be a bunch of free comics that basically I won't give away except on like special events that will be out this weekend. And then if you have a small child the weekend after, there might be a thing in town that you might need to come to me for. Then the weekend after that is Halloween Comic Fest, where I'll be giving out all of the new comics for this year. And I've been getting sent a bunch of Stranger Things, like t-shirts and crap that I didn't order. So if you want a Stranger Things t-shirt, get there on the 28th, because I don't want them.
Okay.
Didn't order them. I guess or maybe I'll charge for them. I don't know. I got to look into it. But there's a lot of stuff coming out on the 28th that will be out for that day and that day only until I give away all that stuff again on the 31st for actual Halloween. Because I kind of have to plan for both days for Halloween.
Are you going to dress up for Halloween?
I don't think so.
You could wear like a white shirt and a red tie and be like the guy from Shaun of the Dead.
Just a guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also in all that, I'm doing like 2 cons. One of them is on a weekend, or one of them is on a Saturday. Then there's a Saturday and Sunday. One of them is just a Sunday, so it just isn't going to affect the store.
Perfect.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot coming up this month, which is kind of exciting. It's nice to have a bunch of assorted little events.
Rocktober.
Yeah, I guess that's it. That's our things.
I like it.
If you want to find the show, you can go to editorsnotecomics.com. Look, everything's there. Just go there.
Yes. We're going to physically go to the store.
210 Water Street in Hollowell, Maine. If you want to get the show a day early, patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. You can also find that on the main website. $1 a month will get you the show a day early every single week. And it'll get you my other show, The Buffy Back Issue, been a whole week early, even though we've really been slacking on recording, and I used to be 10 episodes ahead, and now I'm like 3.
Uh-oh.
I know. Life happens, man.
It does, dude.
I'm still ahead. Yes. But only 3. It feels like, to me, it's a little panicky. Like, I'm only 3 weeks ahead.
Yes.
And not 10. I'll never get that 10 back. And you're on Twitter.
Yes, which, by the way, speaking of Twitter, big thanks to Brian Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
For recognizing the show. He was the writer on Everybody's Dead, right?
Yeah, he said a lot of nice things about the show.
He did say a lot of nice things. I didn't realize also he was a writer on Secret Life of Pets and Minions.
Yeah.
And Puss in Boots. So like a real famous Hollywood type writer.
Yeah, and so he does like children's stuff now, and we read like his book of
the most vulgar thing. Yeah. But no, he had a couple of really nice tweets at us, so that was really cool. So thank you, Brian.
I'm sure he's not listening to this, but hey.
Well, on the off chance that he is, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was, I mean, we get like retweets and likes from a lot of creators, but I think that's like the most overt praise that we've gotten from the show, which was nice to see.
That was the nicest.
Yeah, so that was really cool, actually. We'll be back next week to do a book that I forgot to bring with me, so I'm going to have to give to Jared in like a night or 2. I have a key to his house. I'll just leave it there.
That's weird. You're just going to leave something for me?
I forgot to bring it with me. I realized it on the way home. It wasn't worth turning around.
Oh, okay. I'll just get it from you at some point.
It's my fault.
That's okay.
We'll be back next week for a thing.
Ooh, the thing?
No.
The Mist.
No.
The Fog?
I don't know if that's a real one.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's a real one.
Oh, yes. The Mummy.
Also real.
Wolfman.
Now you're just naming Universal movies.
Okay.
We'll be back.